What's going on, guys? Cade Laufenberg here. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to try to do some more videos on my YouTube. It's been pretty much a dead sea lately, but I watch a lot of Randy Blockett's videos, and I like the way he just is laid back, thinks of different topics while he's fishing or going about his life, and he just records a quick bit in the truck. So I'm going to try to do a couple of those and see how it goes, and let me know what you think. So today's video, what I want to talk about is something that I think is a mistake that a lot of anglers make, including myself, and it's one thing that I feel like I've grown a lot at in the last couple of years, so I wanted to point it out because it's definitely helping me win a lot more tournaments. What I think people miss is failing to realize when they found a winning area. What I mean by that is we're not talking about a spot on the spot type of deal. It's more about an area. It could be a football field size area, or it could be something more broad, like an entire section of a river, a river channel. Like, let's say a 3-mile stretch of river where, hey, it's just going down in this area and I need to fish everything that looks good in this area. Or it could be literally there's this one hole in a grass flat and I'm just gonna put my boat in that hole and go around in circles all day. But whatever the terms of that area might be, it's about areas. And we hear, pro fishing analysts talk about this a lot, about areas over patterns, etc. But I think what I'm really talking about here is guys will find winning areas, like, all the time. And it's just failing to realize just how good that area is. It's something you develop a knack for after years of experience on the water. You get better at being able to recognize the potential of an area. But it's really changed the game for me. In practice, I won't even catch fish in practice. I mean, I literally will run from fish. As soon as I get a bite, I'm out of that place. Basically, I set the hook on fish until I see a quality fish, and then I go. That's pretty much been my strategy all over the country. Anywhere I go, I catch one, and as soon as I catch a fish that's the size that I think is quality for that system, I leave. Because I know, based on the situation, I can tell whether that fish is a random fish or if it's likely that there's more fish nearby. And typically when you do catch a better than average quality bass, there are other better than average quality bass present within a general range of that area. So a good example of this for us was this weekend, the Bites 95 tournament on Sunday. I had found this area in practice. It's a section of a slough that I'd never really fished before. I've dabbled in there a little bit, but never really found them in there, never really thought it set up good. But this particular week, with the water level and the way the duckweed was flowing down the river, because of the water came up about a foot from some heavy rains, and that dislodged a lot of duckweed. And it was getting relocated into this slough, and it was piling up on some clumps of rice, and it just looked perfect. And I caught one 3-pounder and had one other bite in there, and that was just enough for me to know that this was a decent area. Like, I'm gonna fish this at some point during the day. Took note of it. Well, ultimately, long story short, someone started where I wanted to start, which was a smallmouth area. And just due to the proximity and everything else, I was already in that area. I was like, well, I guess let's start in this area where I found on Thursday. So there we are. We're at the frog spot that I just described to you. We're starting there. It's not what I wanted to do at all. The frog bite's been better in the afternoon, but we just had to deal with it. And ultimately caught a giant right away and another giant within 10 minutes of that. And that's where it was like, okay, we are literally setting aside everything we had planned for the day, and this is our plan now. And I think, years ago, I would have caught those 2 big ones, and I would have said, okay, cool, we got lucky. We just caught 2 big ones out of this area. Let's get the hell out of here because we got 40 other spots to fish, and maybe we'll come back to it later, which we wouldn't have come back to it later because my style back in the day was just run, and you never have time to revisit any spot at all, unless it's a spot that's an easy pull up 1 cast deal. But I was never good at fishing big areas where you got to cover water to get those bites. And that's something I've gotten a lot better at. So what we ended up doing was we hunkered down. We fished this area for about 3 hours. we had 2 fish for 8 pounds, and then we had a 2-pound rat, and then I finally caught a 3-pounder. So we had 13 pounds for 4 fish. But it was, it was 9:30, 10 o'clock. So we ate up a good chunk of our day just fishing that area. But it was all about confidence and knowing these fish are the right ones. And they are here for one reason, and that's to eat big shad. There was big shad jumping out of the water real close to the mats that we were fishing. So we knew that, that's what was sustaining this area. We left to go to another area that I've been catching them all summer, and we were lucky to add another good fish, a 335. And, we had a good limit at this point. But we come back to that area again, and it produced yet another 3-pound fish for us. And then we went back again to the area where we caught the 3-pounder, the second area that we went to. And I caught one more over 3 pounds, and that's really what iced our win. We had 18 pounds for 5 fish, really just off of 2 areas all day, back and forth. We fished each area 2 times. The secondary spot produced 2 bites that we weighed in, and the other spot produced 3 bites that we weighed in. So we literally only got like 7 keepers all day out of those 2 areas, but it was enough to win the tournament. And I think it's just so important to recognize when you have that start, when you get those quality bites that are, these fish are fat. All the rest of the fish in the system are just average looking or skinny. And this one area, these fish are just huge. They just look like a different breed. That's when you got to know, like, hey, there's more to this than just one random bite that I got in practice followed up by 2 random good ones in the tournament. Like, no, this is a spot where we can sit on this and go round and around all day and catch multiple big fish and win this tournament. So the thing I'm trying to tell you is if you get a big bite, you got to just settle down and go slower. Slow it down. Even if you think you're already going slow it down even more. Put your Minn Kota Raptors down, or spot lock if you're in deeper water. But in this area, we had no choice but to Raptor down because it was about 1.5 foot deep. So, but just slow everything down and really start to pick things apart and start to pay attention to where your bites are coming from. Our bites were coming within a very small section, and yeah, like I said, we only caught 5 or 6 fish out of that first area, but every one of them came within this 40-yard stretch. So we knew every time we'd come back and turn around, we were narrowing it down a little bit more, and that helped us save time too. But one story I want to relate to this whole thing, how it ended up costing me a lot of money, I'm pretty sure. 2019, I fished all 4 of the Bassmaster Opens. And what happened was, in the lacrosse tournament, day 1, I had one spot on Pool 9 that I really wanted to fish, and then another spot down there that was kind of a go get your limit type of spot. And then I had 30 spots on Pool 8, just a ridiculous amount of spots on Pool 8. So I go down to Pool 9, my starting spot was junk, no fish, not a bite. Okay, go to my second spot, let me go catch a limit quick and just chill out. I get there and it's totally different. The 2-pounders that were loaded there were not playing for me. But I did catch a 3.25 pounder, which gave me a clue that there were some bigger fish that were moving onto this type of cover that I was fishing, which happened to be, wood and grass overhang banks. So I went to the next one in my repertoire and caught another fish. I went to the next one and lost a good fish. And then I kind of ran out of water in that area to fish. So I decided, okay, it's time to get back up to Pool 8. Let's get up to Pool 8. I've got way too much water to fish up there to be messing around down here on Pool 9. I went up to Pool 8 and had a terrible day. Like, never upgraded, never saw a good fish. All the stuff I found in practice was junk. It was just terrible. And looking back, what happened was I found not necessarily a winning area. I don't think I found a winning area down there in Pool 9, but I found an area where I could definitely cash a good check and have a higher finish than what I did. And I just squandered it because I didn't trust my gut. I didn't read the signs good enough. Sorry, I'm backing up my boat right now. Didn't read the signs good enough and just failed to recognize the true potential of that area. And a lot of it was because of haste, because those other areas burning in my mind. And if I would have just slowed down, I think I locked back up to pool 8 by 9:30 that morning, maybe 10 o'clock. If I would have hunkered down and fished, found other water, because it was clearly a pattern. The water had been falling, so all those fish had come out of those shallow backwaters, and they were setting up on the points, and they were setting up on the ends of laydowns. I could have probably ran 30 places like that throughout the day. I would have had to move more. I would have had to go to some different sloughs and find more of that water, but I was confident in that pattern, and I just blew it because I was too antsy to get back up to pool 8. And when I got on pool 8, I didn't go look for that pattern because I had all these spots to fish. All I wanted to do was fish every spot, every dot that I had that had been productive in practice. So I failed to fish the moment, failed to recognize that one section of river I was in on 9 was a really good area, and I left it behind. I cashed a check in that tournament, but I know in my heart that I could have done a lot better had I been a little more intuitive in what I was doing down there. So anyway, this is just something to think about for you guys, for strategy. It's not always about how many spots you have. It's about the quality of the areas that you have and how you go about tactically dissecting them. So hope this helps you win more tournaments. It's definitely something I'm still working on. Found a little piece of vegetation down on pool 9. I got a BFL this weekend, so I'm hoping to employ the same strategy. It's been working, especially during this tougher summertime period. You're a lot better off hunkering into an area and fishing slow than you are running around like a chicken with your head cut off. So let me know what you think. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, let's hear it in the comments. Appreciate it, and I'll keep you updated on the rest of my tournament season. Thanks for watching.